was built in 2001. Only the Patriots and the Ravens have a better home record than the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Diversified Members Credit Union brings you the coin toss for tonight's game. Lions will kick it away. They'll be on defense first. Let's welcome in the third member of our broadcast team, Jennifer Hammond. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Chris. Hey, if you don't know anything about Jim Caldwell, as this guy gets ready to start his third season at the helm for the Lions, know this: the two books that he's into right now, Relentless and Resilience. He is intense. He wants to see that same thing from his players tonight. Three things that he wants to also look for: tempo on offense, also execution and fundamentals. Bottom line from the head coach for these players: know your job and do it.
One thing I noticed too is he was reading those books in the weight room this morning, getting his pregame lift on. I loved it.
He must be getting up early with you. His favorite book, The Best Question Ever. He's got a lot of question marks for this team. Let's see if they get answered starting tonight. Devin Bell will kick it away. Fitz, Toussaint, and Sammy Coates are deep. Toussaint, the former Wolverine, will take it 1 yard deep. Wiggles his way and hops his way to about the 23-yard line. Let's look at that Lions defense that needs to improve in a number of different areas. They got after the quarterback well last year, but they need to do a better job of stuffing the run, especially on third down. They'll look at Landry Jones. He starts for Ben Roethlisberger. Jones, in his fourth year out of Oklahoma, started a few games a year ago, actually led them to a comeback win in Arizona. Tough place for anybody to win. To the air, and minimal gain. Good coverage by Kyle Van Noy. Tonight's defensive starting lineups are brought to you by Lee Steinberg. Kyle Van Noy is one of those guys that Chris Spielman's going to talk about throughout the broadcast as you look at the front four that averages 6'5", 301. But Van Noy, as a starter, hasn't played a whole lot of football in the NFL, but it's a big year for him, Chris.
Yeah, and a good start for him to make a nice open field tackle. And of course, you're very solid on the corners with Slay and Lawson.
Little end around and squeezing through and getting close to a first down. Good tackle made by Glover Quinn. The end around by Eli Rogers.
It's a nice job by Pittsburgh. Again, when you get into the early part of the game, adrenaline's flowing, and a lot of times people go too fast. And right there, you saw number 98, Devin Taylor, jump inside to create that short corner where Rogers was able to exploit it. Nice play call by Todd Haley.
Brings up the third down and short. 3 yards to move the chains for Pittsburgh.
A chance to see man-to-man coverage here, Matt, on third and short situations. The Lions have to improve.
Plenty of time and an underneath route. Good coverage there by Tahir Whitehead. Flag on the play.
Flag on the play.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, 78, offense. 10-yard penalty, still third down.
Villanueva, fine offensive tackle, being so tall, gets his hands into the face of Taylor. And again, you have to be disciplined when you play that position. That's something that the league is really cracking down on. And even if your hand slips up there, you have to be able to remove it and get it back down into the chest area.
But when you talk about discipline, you think Alejandro Villanueva. He's out of the Army. He spent 3 terms in Afghanistan, folks. He was named a captain in the Army, and he won 14 different medals, including the Bronze Medal for Valor.
And look at him, man. I mean, the size of him and not sloppy. I mean, sometimes you see big offensive tackles that are sloppy. He's really lean and mean.
He's a wide receiver in the Army. They put on some beef. He's 6'9", 320. Third down and long now. 13 yards for Landry Jones. Pressure comes, unloads, and dropped at the 40-yard line. Nearly picked there by Raphael Bush.
Well, again, we talk about guys that are fighting for starting positions. Bush is starting for a fighting position. And right here, he's in position to make a play. He jumps too early, which almost resulted into a first down besides the drop pass. But when you're fighting for a position, what you have to do, when you got a chance to make a play, you make it. He came up short right there.
Actually picked off Ben Roethlisberger on Wednesday there in Latrobe with these two teams in dual practices. Andre Roberts from inside his own 20. Looking for the edge, got a nice block, and then squirms his way close to the 35-yard line or so. So we'll get a look at Detroit's first string offense, led by Matt Stafford. Now, Matt Stafford last year, 32 touchdowns, 7th most in the league, and 13 picks. A hold against Detroit, that'll push him back after a decent return by Roberts. But a plus 19 in the touchdown to interception ratio, the best of his career, and you like to see that. You're going to throw picks, you just got to be able to overcome them.
So I was on Shep in the Morning, this great radio show back in Detroit, and we were talking.
It's the first time it's been described as
yes,
great.
Thank you. And I think he's a top 5 talent guy. I really do. And I'm not the only one with that opinion. I mean, I talked to a lot of people around the league. Matthew Stafford is as good as can get in the NFL. If they can get some type of balance going with this football team, he's going to shine even more.
He'll admit he's got to win, though. Let's see what they do. They started on the ground. That's something that you kept a keen eye throughout camp. Are they getting the push? And let's look at the offensive starting lineups. It's brought to you by Ford Motor Company. This offensive line, we highlighted Taylor Decker. He's the first-round pick this year. Laken Tomlinson last year, and Jim Caldwell said he's light years from where he was last year. And Matthew Mulligan, the starting tight end, because no Eric Ebron. We'll see 3 different tight ends tonight. Empty set for Stafford on 2nd down and 7. Sidearms it. And a little miscommunication with Theo Riddick, who was on the outside.
And under pressure right there. And then what you have to do is, and this is a training camp thing, and also we talk about the new receivers with the Lions. One thing that has to develop between Stafford and his new receivers is timing and reading each other's mind. And this was to Theo Riddick, who usually is on the same page. Pressure right up the gut, just a missed assignment.
80 catches a year ago for Riddick, most in the NFL. His yards receiving for running backs, 2nd most to Danny Woodhead of San Diego. Stafford changes the play. He's got 3 seconds to get it away. Good protection, good throw, and a nice route, too, as Cole Wick hauls it in for a first down.
And Cole Wick is an interesting player out of Garnet Word. Rookie, and understanding where the sticks are. Cole Wick does that. Now, finding that zone and sitting it right down in between the linebackers. They were in the Tampa too. That linebacker's way out of there. You exploit that coverage by sitting it right down because the middle linebacker's taking off for the deep middle part of the field. Recognition by that young man, sign of growth.
Big time player right there, and big time opportunity. Tuesday in Latrobe had a touchdown in this first string offense as Detroit goes to the round again on first down. Now you don't have Amir Abdullah, so Theo Riddick will get plenty of carries with this first unit, and then we'll see some others. Stephen Ridley, Zach Zenner, Dwayne Washington.
A few practices that I've been to, Matt, the guy that stands out, and Bob Quinn brought him over from New England, is Stephen Ridley. He's got a little bit of juice behind him, a little power and burst. He's going to make a run for this roster.
No question. Physical, experienced. We'll see him a little bit later on. 2nd down and 9 for Stafford. Blitz comes, he unloads, and it's incomplete. Good coverage on the outside by James Harrison, the former Defensive Player of the Year back in 2008.
Not bad for 14 years in the league.
He still looks good, doesn't he?
I mean, when you're able to have a career linebacker like James and just understanding route. See, they're playing a little bit of a zone right there, but they don't cover dirt. What they do is play a matchup zone, so they'll cover that nearest guy in the area. Because of their pressure, it usually forces the quarterback to make a quick throw.
Giving Detroit's offense some different looks that they haven't seen, obviously, yet in camp.
We'll get used to it because half their games are against 3-4 teams, and Pittsburgh is the #1 3-4 team in the league.
3rd down play, Stafford, a big hit. He connects with Marvin Jones for a first down. They have connected throughout camp. Really good symmetry. He picked up 16, moves the chains, and got right back up.
Well, I love to say throw a guy open. This ball's going to be delivered before Jones is out of his break, and he puts it right where he needs to. And that throw right there should tell everyone back in Detroit why this kid, not a kid anymore in Stafford, has top 5 talent.
Again on the ground on first down.
Missed a hole.
Was it to the outside? Yeah. Trying the right side where Larry Warford and Riley Reef are.
And Theo's a lot, third down back, and sometimes he's a little bit impatient. You're going to see the hole right to the outside. Right here to the outside. Right there's the hole. And see, here's the 8th man in the box. You got to make that guy miss. That's how you get a running game. We're not just talking about push on the offensive line. You have to make the 8th man in the box miss. And he cut it back away from him.
Stafford will check down to Riddick. Oh, and he runs right in at the 45-yard line to William Gay.
Well, William Gay is as good as it gets. 10th year out of Louisville. Defeats his man one-on-one. You got to be able to block as a wide receiver. William Gay had nothing to do with it. Makes an outstanding tackle on Theo Riddick, because if he does not make that tackle, we're either lining up for an extra point or first down. Right there, Marvin Jones. See, that just beats him with speed. To become a complete wide receiver, and if you want big plays in your offense, your wide receivers must block downfield.
Something Calvin Johnson did very well. William Gay, by the way, 144 consecutive starts. He's never missed a start. Another third down play for Detroit. They're 2 for 2 on third down so far. They need 6.
Got man coverage by the Steelers. Win your one-on-one battle.
Stafford throws across the middle. Anquan Bolden with a catch. Broke a tackle inside the 30-yard line down to the 25.
I mean, that's, again, in the open, Anquan Bolden, just strong. And he plays angry.
Unafraid.
Yeah, he's in a bad mood when he catches the ball. He's always trying to prove something. That's what you love about the guy. Right here, he beats his man one-on-one. He's late to the coverage. Then you're able to run through tacklers. And look at him. He doesn't go down. He doesn't try to avoid hits. 13 years because he's a man.
Not afraid to go across the middle. And Cole Wick jumped early on the snap count. But that's...
Full start, number 89, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Wick will learn, but just again with Anquan Bolden, a guy who is one of those pros, right, Chris? I mean, he goes out there, he does what you're supposed to do to get ready for a game and a practice every single day.
That's why he's lasted. Great genetics. He works hard, and you take talent and toughness and work ethic, you get a great pro like Anquan Bolden. I think it's a great pickup by Bob Quinn.
Famous to wear 81, but didn't even ask for it out of respect for Calvin Johnson. Stafford, good pocket, pressure comes up the middle, squeezed his way through it, rambles his way to the 25-yard line, back to the original line of scrimmage, or close to it anyway.
You saw a little late hit there by Steelers coming on Stafford. The reason why that's allowed is because Matthew Stafford isn't afforded extra protection if he goes head first. Now watch it come in here. He's going to go down and he's going to avoid the hit. Now, if he would have slid feet first and that guy hits him,
penalty.
If you're head first, you're open game.
One of the many new rules that we'll get to throughout the broadcast and throughout the preseason. Riddick, good run inside the 20 to the 18-yard line or so. Brought down by Mike Mitchell, the safety out of Ohio.
What a great job. But I got excited here. Sorry for cutting you off. But Marvin Jones, he missed the block on Gay before. Now look at him. He's going to make amends. Hands are inside. Your hands in, you win. He does a good job in sealing Gay to pick up a good yardage gain by Theo Riddick. But that's the way to come back. You love that.
Now it's third and manageable.
Yeah.
It's almost 4-down territory for some teams. Good pocket, plenty of time. Stafford will run for it. He'll get it, a flag on the play. There he slides feet first at the 10-yard line. But let's see who the infraction is on.
You need a holding here, buddy.
Holding, number 68, offense. 10-yard penalty, still third down.
Now, he does a good job of, watch the twist, and he'll pick up the twist. Right here is Taylor Decker out of Ohio State. They're going to get him for a hold. Watch the patience. So, see, he doesn't chase inside, understands the X game is coming back, and gets his hands caught outside. Outside, you lose. Hands in, you win. But a good sign was he was able to recognize that little stunt, stay patient, no wasted movement, and come off and get it.
Pushes back to just past the 25-yard line. They'll bring up 3rd down and 12.
Golden Tate's been a little bit quiet tonight, right there. Top of your screen.
Stafford looks that way, and down he goes. James Harrison and a fumble, and the Steelers have it. Arthur Moats was there after the sack strip of one James Harrison. 2 big plays by the 14-year vet from Kent State. And the Steelers take over in a scoreless game. Lions preseason football is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button, get mortgage. By Arby's, we have the meats. And by Comerica Bank. Gorgeous view on this Friday night. Downtown Pittsburgh. The Lions and Steelers square off in preseason game number 1.
Take a look here, number 68, Taylor Decker at the top of your screen. Just a little late out of his stance. Did not get enough depth, and James Harrison beats him with a speed move plus a rip.
So the Steelers take over. Landry Jones gets pressure, and down he goes at the 25-yard line. Devin Taylor.
This is beautiful right here. I mean, he should have this. Taylor should have 12 sacks this year. Why? Because you got Ziggy Ansah on the other side. But Devin Taylor right here beats his man inside. He's getting held, he's getting grabbed, he's getting piggybacked, yet he has the ability to finish. I mean, with the attention that Ansah garners, he should have a bunch of sacks because a lot of the help is going to come to Ziggy's side. That should leave him one-on-one to make plays like that all year.
Chris, it's what the Steelers told us they love most about doing the dual practices, that they get a chance to go against those speed rushers, Taylor and Ansah, as Toussaint tries to cut it back and gets to the 30-yard line. Good fill. Taylor was there yet again. Devin Taylor, a golden opportunity here to be a full-time starter when he's a guy who's only started 2 games in his entire NFL career.
Well, again, what you would like to do when you have that type of pass rusher, you want them in as many downs as you can. But if you can develop depth at that defensive end position, 1st and 2nd downs, not all the time, but you could give him a spell because you want him fresh on the money down. And the money down, of course, is 3rd down.
And that's what it is right now with 16 to go for Landry Jones and the Steelers. Going deep. Not even close. John Batamosi out there on the coverage.
Macy does a good job understanding down and distance, and when you're playing this type of defense, you want to be deep as the deepest. Look at that. Never comes out of his break. He's never threatened. And not tracking the man, but I like the fact that he tracked the ball. A nice pickup again by Bob Quinn.
Yeah, really brought him in to be a special team demon. And Detroit has the top 2 special team tacklers from a year ago, Batamosi and Don Carey.
Batamosi will be competing for that nickel spot before it's all said
Full
and done.
start,
Gets
number
Quandre
98,
Diggs.
offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
A little further back now for Jordan Berry. The punter for the Steelers. Jeremy Curley is deep for Detroit. Returnable for Curley from his own 12. Not going anywhere. Flag on the play. We'll let you know what it is when we come back. Just under 5 minutes in the opening quarter of the opening preseason game. Night is over. 4 for 6, 59 yards. Had a rush for a 1st down and had 3 first downs with that first team offense. But he also got hit 3 times pretty hard.
It should be over because you don't want that guy taking the shots that he took. I mean, you got to protect him better than they did that first. That's why I think you'll see this first team offensive line, at least if it were me calling the shots, play till the first half. They're young, they're talented, but they're not together yet. And you can't have your franchise guy taking those shots that he took. Not in preseason.
Riley Reif is the only first team offensive lineman next to Stafford. Everybody else is in there. Decker, Tomlinson, Swanson, Warford, and now Michael Ola will come in at right tackle for Dan Orlovsky, who played in 3 games a year ago. Zach Zenner, the lone setback. Ground game again. Runs hard, barrels his way for a first down. This is what impressed everybody with the Lions a year ago, how he squares his shoulders.
Well, here's what impresses me. In order to run the ball effectively in the NFL, you have to be, first, good blocking right there, but you have to be able to run through and be your own blocker and make people miss. That's how you get yards after contact. That's what great NFL backs do. Take a look at Minnesota and Adrian Peterson. What's he do? He runs through people, and the first guy rarely brings him down.
Play action for Orlovsky. He'll throw to Zenner. He'll catch it out of the backfield and get drilled at the 30-yard line.
Got a job of protection that time.
Duran Grant made the play, the second-year pro out of Ohio State.
Here the protection solid. They're sliding to the right. Good job of creating a wall, allowing Orlovsky to survey the field and hit the check down.
Well, and that's what the running game allows you to do too, right? Keeps the linebackers honest on the play action.
I'll talk to you about that in a second because I don't believe in play action for linebackers. And I'll tell you why.
Andre Roberts came in motion, center, right side. Not a great push, but 1 yard, positive yards.
Yeah, here's the thing on play action. And I tell college kids all this. When I did college games, I'd meet with these linebackers and say, look, on play action, people think I'm crazy when I say this, and you can think what you want because I don't care. But on play action as a linebacker, when it's a run play, here's what the offensive linemen sound like. On a pass play, you don't hear a word.
So you're listening. Okay.
Yes, you listen. You play with your ears too.
It's a good point. I always assumed it's you're reading the hat of the guard, and that's about it. But you got to listen as well.
Well, teams are so good at disguising that play action.
Yeah. Throwing situation, quick slant. Roberts has got it for a first down to the 41-yard line. Nice pitch and catch. Orlovsky to Roberts. Ross Cockrell makes the tackle.
First, nice job by Andre right here of beating his man inside. First of all, a good get, and right there, the little set, he caught Cockrell looking inside, peeking. As soon as he peeked, he excelled to the open area and able to get down to avoid the linebacker coming in for the decapitation shot.
And good protection, too, for Orlovsky. He's been upright with Zenner to his left shoulder. Bubble. Jeremy Curley dragged down by Grant. Grant part of that Ohio State National Championship team in 2014.
I think Jeremy should have cut that one back inside. They had the Steelers inside, cut it back inside. They got a little more positive yards, but again, just learning and seeing. You know, there's something different. I mean, the practices and joint practices are great, and I love them. I love them as a player. But what are you going to do when the lights are on? There's just a little different feel.
Sure.
And they know that other scouts and other people are watching this around the league.
Big hit. I'm telling you, they're coming. Ryan Shazier, another former Buckeye. Yeah, he's not a really big linebacker, but boy, he's got really good athleticism. He's got speed, doesn't he?
Yeah, he'll drop a 4.3 on you in a heartbeat. I mean, I think he ran his pro day a 4.39. Shazier coming from the top of your screen just runs through, and he missed the hole though. Zach looked to cut that back. If you saw to the right, they had an expansive area where the safety was coming to be late in the box, and where you make your money as a running back is you're able to make that guy miss.
Shazier, a career high 87 tackles last year. This is a 3rd down and 8 for Detroit.
Playing zone.
Lions 4 for 5 on 3rd down. Orlovsky's got time across the middle. Curley's got it, and he dropped it.
Well, first of all, it's a good recognition by Orlovsky. Why? You have in a zone coverage, you have a slot receiver matched on the linebacker. He cannot stay with him, and there's a lost opportunity. You want to make the team, make the catch. Curley again had his opportunity to make a play. He doesn't make it. Next guy up. Now I'm a little harder than that, but I just think I want to. But I'm rooting for these guys. You got a chance to make that play, make it. Orlovsky, I love the fact he saw the matchup with slot on a linebacker.
Eli Rogers, fair catch inside the 10. Good punt by Sam Martin, who does it as well as anybody else. Lions miss an opportunity. Steelers get it back deep in their own territory. Opportunity for the Lions offense on that last possession. Did a nice job of protecting Dan Orlovsky on that drive, though.
That's better. They'll do that when Stafford's in.
Now Pittsburgh will try to do the same for Landry Jones. Landry Jones, I think sometimes people forget, how productive he was at Oklahoma. Started 50 of 52 games there. A school record, 48 consecutive starts. Mike Tomlin, the head coach, in his 10th season. Last year, 10-6. First and 10 for his Steelers. Jones with a pump fake and a good coverage on the part of Tahir Whitehead. Well, Tahir Whitehead's the Mike linebacker. He's the middle linebacker. He's used to playing on the outside. How is that different for him?
Well, I think he's played it before. Now, when you play inside, there's a lot of heads moving, bodies moving, a lot of different motion. But outside in coverage, he's very comfortable. And what they try to do here is Jesse James, the big tight end, tries to box him out like a basketball player. But I love the patience of Tahir, not getting too physical with him and playing the arms of the receiver and batting that ball away. It's a veteran move and outstanding coverage.
On the ground for the Steelers, slicing it up just past the 10-yard line, is Darrell Richardson.
Nice job by Karan Reed. Driving depth up there, fighting for a position as a defensive tackle. Did a good job of defending off the offensive lineman, not giving 1-for-1 and making a tackle in the hole. Strong guy.
Yeah,
really good play right there, man. Really good. That's a good sign. You want depth at that defensive tackle position.
Fifth rounder in 2014, 29 tackles a year ago. A gain of 1.5 yards. It's third down and long for the Steelers. Jones is going to throw. Not much happening there. Jesse James hauled it in, but the Lions did a good job of hemming him in. Brings up fourth down.
A nice open field tackle out there. I believe that was Quandre Diggs.
He gives that secondary some depth. A lot of people feel like this Lions secondary is one of the strengths of this club, and Diggs helps the cause. Scoreless here in Pittsburgh. Detroit's had the better chances. They'll get another chance when we come back after this on the Lions Television Network. Threat of lightning as well, but it's turned out to be a very comfortable evening here in Pittsburgh. Alongside Chris Spielman and Jennifer Hammond, I'm Matt Shepard. Glad you're with us on this Friday night. Lions have had the better opportunities offensively. Defensively, the Lions done a nice job against this Pittsburgh offense. Now, granted, there's no Le'Veon Bell, there's no Antonio Brown, there's no Ben Roethlisberger, but you play a pro. You play who you have to play. They've yet to allow a first down, that Lions defense for Jim Caldwell.
Been very good on third downs, which was a weakness of theirs last year. They have to get better. They were 41%, which was 24th in the league. You must be better on third downs.
26th in takeaways, too. You want to get the football back for your offense a little bit more as well. Roberts waits for this punt. He'll drift to his left, try to stay in bounds, but he's forced out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. That's where Detroit takes over first and 10 in a scoreless game on a Friday night in the Steel City on the Lions Television Network. We talked in our open about improving the offensive line, getting some big guys in, helping the depth. The Lions have done that with these two guys too, Joe Dahl and Graham Glasgow.
Yeah, Graham Glasgow is a guy that I really liked, and when Coach Quinn, I'll call him, Bob Quinn picked him up in the third round, I thought that was a really good pickup because of the Michigan games I did last year, and we met with Coach Harbaugh. We asked about the offensive line. The first name that came out of his mouth was Graham because of how good he's been, how consistent. I like the fact that he's big. He's a 6'6" guy. He's very athletic, and he's tough. He plays with an edge.
He's also very versatile. Dahl is too. Dahl's been an outstanding tackle at Washington State, but he's at the left guard spot wearing 66 in white. Orlovsky to Zenner, and they'll run behind Joe Dahl, and they'll gain some yardage. And this is something, Chris, you talked about while watching this team in practice. Are they getting push? It looked like they did there.
Well, Graham did a good job right here of sealing off the nose guard, then pushing and working up to the second level, number 60 right here. And watch him work to the second level. See him get on Shazier right there, cutting off that backside. That's an excellent job and a good first play for that young rookie.
Second down and 7. TJ Jones is split wide to the left. Orlovsky, pressure comes. He eludes it and then throws it picked off down the near sideline. This is Duran Grant, and he will score.
And you know, we praised one rookie. We wouldn't have to get on another rookie because Dahl whiffs. You see him right there. You see he jumped inside. They come with a blitz up the middle, and Orlovsky, quite frankly, panics. If you're going to throw it away, every fan in this stadium would love a souvenir football. Take the penalty, whatever you have to do, but don't throw it to an empty space and give the guy a gift. And Dahl will go over and he'll get corrected. He jumped inside a little too quick. He was not able to recover on the linebacker coming from the outside, which the zone blitz or 3-4 defense does. And the result is disastrous for the Lions.
On for the extra point now is Chris Boswell. Missed only one a year ago. He's perfect on his first attempt in the preseason. Pressure came on Dan Orlovsky. He unloaded, but it went to the wrong color jersey. 38 yards later, Steelers lead by 7.
Pittsburgh, Steelers up 7-0 on a mental error by Orlovsky and a mental error right here on Dahl. Watch him jump inside. His shoulders get turned. They don't stay square to the line of scrimmage. See his shoulders turn. As soon as those shoulders are getting 90 degrees, you're beat. Then the defensive tackle, I said linebacker, my mistake. Ricardo Matthews has a free run to the quarterback. He stepped inside, but the problem was, as you saw in that replay, the shoulders got turned. You can't turn your shoulders as an offensive lineman. You have to be able to slide your feet and keep your shoulders square. He did not. The result is a touchdown and a mental error on the veteran. 11 years in the league. You don't throw the ball with your eyes closed. Give it, put it up there. There's a lot of kids that would love a souvenir. Even some old folks in the stands would love that souvenir.
And a scoring drive presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Duran Grant with a 38-yard touchdown. And that's 7-0 Pittsburgh, with Roberts getting it back to the 15-yard line for Detroit. It's too bad because Joe Dahl has actually had a very good camp for this team so far. You hear Ron Prince, the offensive line coach, constantly say, good job, Joe Dahl. He's got to be able to put that behind him and move forward and get better.
Well, they're rookies, and these are the things that are going to happen, and you're going to make mistakes. How do you bounce back from those mistakes? You know, we looked at early in the game, right? Marvin Jones got beat by William Gay on the corner. Well, what's a veteran good player do? He bounces back and makes a play. But as an offensive lineman, it is very difficult to make the adjustment to the NFL game, and he'll bounce back. I mean, that's not a career ender, but you just got to come back and realize the mistake I made. And guess what? Don't open the gate and let the guy run straight to the quarterback.
He's not the only one who made a mistake on that play. You just mentioned Dan Orlovsky did as well. Orlovsky playing in his 11th year out of UConn. He'll go to the ground. Zach Zenner wrapped up immediately at the 15-yard line. Good penetration on the part of Javon Hargrave. You mentioned playing against the 3-4. What's the biggest adjustment the linemen have to make against something like this?
Well, the biggest concern usually, well, you have a guy right over the center. So you always have to step with the guard, whatever side you're running, to stop the penetration. It's very difficult to snap the ball with the guy head up on you to be able to block him because he's got to get off on you. And the other thing is the pass rushers. You don't know where that fourth pass rusher is coming from or the fifth pass rusher.
Empty set for Orlovsky underneath, and it was almost intercepted. Should have been intercepted by Shamarko Thomas.
Well, you got to throw away from the coverage guy. That ball was behind Cole Wick. Now, he might have thought Cole Wick was going to sit down, but also you have to be, as a quarterback, you see 29 sitting in there, you got to throw that opposite of where he is. So you got to put that on his outside, understanding Shamarko Thomas was coming inside.
So 3rd down and 10 for the Lions second teamers. Jones is tight to the left. Orlovsky across the middle. It's caught at the 28-yard line. Little cross pattern by Jeremy Curley and a dig route, and it's a first down. He picked up 13.
Well, veteran move, first of all, by handling a bad snap and not hitting the panic button. But the thing I liked is watch him work his feet. See, his feet are always staying in passing position, Matt. He's working his feet to the throwing lane, and he's able to hit Curley, who comes back after having a drop to make a big third down catch.
Center.
There you go.
Good job to get to the 35-yard line.
And good push by the offensive line. You see that? He did not get stopped at that line of scrimmage. There was a push and a bubble and the patience on the cutback. He didn't cut it back right away. He attacks the line of scrimmage. Cole Wick does a good job of coming across, sealing the backside, and Zenner does his best job, I think, when he runs north and south. Stay away from east and west. You weren't made to
forward.
So when you have a safety making a tackle in the backfield, there's an eight man in the box. You don't have enough guys to block. So what you do to counter that, anytime you get that pre-snap read again, that safety's up that close, you got an audible to a bootleg off of that. Watch Marco Thomas. Look at him coming up here, sneaking inside. And on a snap of the ball, he's already taken the play. And it doesn't allow for the cutback. You saw Andre Roberts come in to try to get the cutoff block, but Shamarko's too deep into the line to be able to get him.
3rd and 3 as Orlovsky changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Wick is on the left side. Curley's in the slot there. Orlovsky looks that way. Now dumps it underneath. Zenner with a good grab. And got the first down.
Okay, new rule in effect right here. The horse collar. Now the horse collar used to be where the hand had to go inside the collar. The rule has been changed this year that if the hand is on the nameplate,
horse collar, tackle, 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, first down.
Is the same as if the hand was inside the collar. Now watch, I think his hand is going to get on the nameplate. There you go, straight ahead, Ed. Love it. Just go north-south. But it did get inside the collar. But for fans out there watching this year, even the nameplate will count as inside the collar. That's a new rule change for 2016.
As a defensive guy, do you like that rule?
No, but you know, I mean, I don't like any rules that hurt a defensive guy. But I mean, safety of the player, I guess.
Needed 3, got 7.
It's amazing we all still live.
It is.
How we played.
Bubble screen right here and a quick out to Quinshaw Davis. Now this is a guy you want to keep an eye on throughout the preseason. He's a big body, big target, 6'3", 218 pounds out of North Carolina. And he's competitive. He's physical. He likes to compete, doesn't he?
Yeah, free agent pickup, undrafted rookie. I like him, and talking to Coach Caldwell last night, you know, the one thing that he can do to help himself and try to make this football team is be able to compete on special teams, covering kicks, block, tackle, not just go out and be a fancy wide receiver, but actually get physical.
Orlovsky with plenty of time. He'll swing it out again. They're using their backs well, aren't they? This time it was George Wynn on the grab.
And George Wynn out of the University of Cincinnati, competing for one of those running back positions. And Orlovsky does a good job with his eyes. See him looking left, letting that zone get nice deep drops, and Wynn's out there in the flat. And again, I can't emphasize enough, in order to be a productive running back in this league, you have to start making people miss. He made the defender miss to get the first down.
Steelers lead at 7-zip, and they don't have a first down. It was a touchdown return off an interception. Here's a screen. Wynn again with a good block. In front inside the 20 to the 15 and driven out of bounds just shy of the 10-yard line. Picked up 19 on the play.
Well, I'm going to be Ron Prince. Good job, Joe Dahl. And here's why. Watch the feet right here when he's able to adjust. Now this is a hard block for an offensive guard, but watch the adjustment right here. See him turn and be able to cut off Shazier, who normally is quick enough to get under that block. And again, good job, Joe Dahl.
We'll take it.
That's a way to come back, Joe.
Another first down for the Lions. Orlovsky will swing it out to Curley, and he's driven down right away. Like 9 first downs for Detroit, none for Pittsburgh. Sometimes sports is funny that way, isn't it?
Oh, they had missed opportunities though, too. Drop balls. throwing the ball up like nobody cares.
But
It'll cost you.
But sometimes, I mean, look, in-game adversity, right, Chris? I mean,
Yeah.
you got Orlovsky's responded pretty well.
Yeah. Well, you expect the guy to.
Right.
I mean, the play that he made where he picked up the bad snap, was able to roll, to keep his throwing position, slide to the throwing lane, and deliver a strike on 3rd and 12. Yeah, that's what you expect.
Michael Burton, the up back in the offset eye. Where's 46 in white?
Cut it back.
Lead the way for win. Grab from behind.
Vince Williams, nice play by that linebacker again. Right there, we called the cutback, and here's where the Steelers are so good, is getting that second level. And Graham Glasgow was working up to that second level, but Vince Williams didn't cooperate. He didn't go where he's supposed to be, coach, but he was quick enough to get underneath that block to make the play.
Former Seminole in his 4th year out of Florida State. Maybe a throwing down here for Orlovsky. He's connected on his last 5.
But, you know, that push was good on that offensive line. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
3rd and 8. Across the middle, almost intercepted again.
Ricardo Matthews got the mitt in the air. It's a good job by Ricardo Matthews right here, playing right over Graham Glasgow, and he splits a double team, doesn't not quit. I love the fact that just the effort of throwing that hand in the air was able to bat the ball down. But that's what you get from a Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line. I mean, a lot of teams do that, obviously great effort, but the Steelers particularly never quit.
The 29-yard field goal attempt for Matt Prater. Out of the hold of Sam Martin. And Prater nails it. 102 points a year ago, 22 of 24 on field goal attempts, and he was right down the middle to put the Lions on the board. Scoring drive is brought to you by Gardner White. A long scoring drive for the Lions ends up in a 29-yard field goal, but 13 plays, 74 yards, and a little bit more than 6 minutes. Let's welcome in Jennifer Hammond on the sidelines. Jen?
You know, you guys were talking a little bit earlier about Raphael Bush being a guy that may be competing for that nickel position. Well, it has been a very busy week for the Lions' strong safety. On Monday, he left practice in Allen Park. He went down to Charlotte, North Carolina for the birth of his daughter, Jordan. Take a look at that little cutie. He spent a few hours at the hospital Tuesday after staying up all night long with his wife when she gave birth. And then he caught a flight to Pittsburgh Tuesday evening and rejoined his teammates for Wednesday's practice, and now here he is playing tonight.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, that's more important. It really is. And he's a really good tackler, and he's a guy who'll stick his nose in there, and he's obviously a heck of a father as well. Lions go back on the defensive side of the ball, trailing by 4 with 8 minutes left in the opening half. Lions preseason football is brought to you by Jets Pizza. Life is short. Eat better pizza. Let's get Jets. By Tim Hortons. And by Comerica Bank. Pittsburgh starts their 4th drive of the night at the 25-yard line because it was a touchback. That's a new rule instituted that no longer will it go to the 20. It starts at the 25 on a touchback. Yay or nay? Thumbs up, thumbs down on that new rule.
Well, if they're trying to eliminate returns, which I think was the spirit of the rule, I think it's going to have the opposite effect because teams are just going to kick it short and they'll get better coverage and get them inside the 25 with their kickoff coverage.
It's one of many rule changes that the NFL is instituting this year. It's number 5 on our graphic right there. Crown of the helmet hitting runners will be emphasized. It should always be, but especially this year. No cut blocks on double teams. That's really important. The catch, no catch rule has always been one of controversy. And then Chris talked about it with Matthew Stafford earlier. Sliding feet first. Runner only gets protected when you finish sliding feet first, like you would into second base. Big hole and a big gain. The best of the night for Pittsburgh. And this time it's the running back, Darrell Richardson rather.
Well, you have to know where your help is right here. On the play, go ahead and run it, boys. On the play right here, we're going to jump inside. And then number 52 for the Lions, Antoine Williams, also is outside, leaving 2 guys outside, which left that gap inside wide open. Antoine Williams has to be inside of that blocker to kick it out to the unblocked corner.
Antoine Williams, a draft pick of the Lions this year, and hoping to provide some depth for this Lion linebacking crew. John Bostic was injured the other day in Latrobe against the Steelers, so that really put an emphasis on the guys who get an opportunity behind him, and they're young.
Can we watch Kyrie Thornton here on a belly-to-belly suplex? Look at this. Beautiful, baby. That's the way to finish.
That is literal, isn't it?
That's it.
Belly to belly.
Yeah, or souffle, I don't know. I didn't wrestle, but whatever it was nice.
He's turned some heads a little bit in camp. He's done a nice job. Has had an opportunity to play both D end and D tackle, but he's more comfortable inside. It's a second down and long after a loss of 2. Pressure comes, Jones unloads, and it is incomplete. And a late flag on Preston Butler.
Didn't need to grab him, no. I mean, a confident corner is not going to grab. And I get it in the game. You don't want to get beat.
29, defense.
He's in great
Ball placed
position.
at the spot of the foul. First down.
Preston's in great position, and just trust it. Trust your training right here. Look, he's got a nice little speed turn. The ball's way overthrown, and you see where he was. He came back inside underneath that hip. He didn't need to hook him. It's okay. You're in good position. If he catches it, make the tackle. Line up again.
They move it inside the Lion 40.
Trust it.
It's the deepest the Steelers have been tonight. I know they have 7 points, but that was a 28-yard touchdown return for the Steelers. Richardson dancing his way for a couple.
Good job, Kyle Van Noy.
Really important to have him come through. A second-round pick a few years ago, and you know he's dealt with some injuries, but he's also learning a new position. You watched him at Penn State. He was playing in a 3-4. Now he's playing in a 4-3. What gives there?
Well, I watched him at Brigham Young.
Brigham Young. Sorry. Brigham Young.
Same thing.
Not really.
The difference is when you're playing off the ball as opposed to playing on the ball, you're staring at one man on the ball. Off the ball, you're staring at 5 different offensive linemen plus vision into the backfield. He'll get better. He needs to have a good year.
Sure does.
That was a good play.
Bounce into the outside. Richardson got it to the 29-yard line. Pickup of 8. Don Carey came in, made the initial hit.
What I like here is Don Carey, number 26. What I like is something that is a lost art a lot of times. And watch him wrap up. See that? He gets his body across the bow and he wraps his arms. Doesn't try to just shoulder tackle the guy, but you're able to secure the tackle when you wrap up.
1st and 10 for Landry Jones and the Steelers. Jones started. See Dustin Vaughn a little bit later on, maybe Bruce Grodkowski as well. Jones wants to throw, good pocket for the corner of the end zone. Darius Hayward-Bay, did he stay in bounds? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Hayward-Bay.
It's a great catch. Great throw, too. First of all, he's thrown to the back pylon. Butler, again, in good position, is just a little bit late with that left hand. Did not go up and split the arms. When you're playing this technique, which is fine, if you go up and you're late, that's what's going to happen. If he would have went up a little bit sooner and start ripping at that football, it's not bad coverage. In fact, I would say that's good coverage. The guy made a great play. But I like the technique. You just got to be able to swap those arms away so he cannot go up and secure the football in the air. It's good coverage, though. Made a play.
Chris Boswell now for the extra point out of the hold of Jordan Berry. And it is good. Solid drive engineered by Landry Jones, capped off to the 8th-year pro out of Maryland, Darius Hayward-Bay. A 28-yard pitch and catch to make it 14-3. Touchdown of the night for the Steelers. They lead it now 14-3. Darius Hayward-Bay with just a fly route against Preston Butler. You thought it was good coverage. Why is it good coverage when he doesn't turn his head, Chris?
Well, there's 2 ways to play this. One, you don't turn your head. Sometimes if you turn your head and look back for the ball, the receiver's able to pull away. Also, if you look back for the ball, sometimes you're late and you don't have a chance to defend it. That technique is taught, and which one that I'm a proponent of, especially in the end zone, is when that ball's up for grabs, you go up and play through the receiver's hands. That time he was a little bit late playing through that receiver's hands, and Darius Hayward-Bay was able to out-jump him and secure the football.
See if Jeremy Curley brings it out. He will, 3 yards deep. Good cutback and spins his way close to the 20. A 23-yard return for Curley. The Lions head back out on the field, now trailing by 11 on the Lions television network. Lions 4, 5, and 6 receiver spots are up for grabs right now, and TJ Jones out of Notre Dame is in that mix, and he's a guy who's trying to get healthy and be on the field a little bit more than he has been in training camp. Last year, 10 rocks, including a touchdown. He needs to make a name for himself because he's battling some guys right now. If we automatically assume that guys like Tate, Jones, and Bolden have already sealed up a spot on this squad. He's been targeted once so far tonight, although Dan Orlovsky and the Lions passing overall, they've gone to 9 different receivers on the night. Orlovsky wants to throw. Pressure from the backside, a flag on the play, and a comeback route that is dropped by Andre Roberts.
Holding, number 44, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
And here, number 44 at the bottom of your screen, Orson Charles, kind of out of your picture right there. He's battling for a spot. He's had a pretty good camp. Coach Caldwell mentioned him by name yesterday, and good 2 days here in Latrobe.
$19 yards now to move the chains for Detroit. Zenner to the right of Orlovsky. There's 34 in white. There's Charles getting to the 20-yard line. Got the 10 yards right back. Charles, an interesting story because Jim Caldwell actually saw him play in high school. Jim Caldwell went to watch Tony Dungy's son play high school football, and Charles was a high school teammate of Tony Dungy's son.
I think he's got talent, and I think he understands the game. He might be hurting a little bit in his pass protection, but right there, don't underestimate the value of a tight end understanding and reading zone defense, then find and sit it down in the zone so your quarterback can find you on a big target.
Screen set up, Zenner, good block out in front. And he got the first down and more. Really nice move by Zach Zenner. He's impressed, no question.
First of all, it's a nice job by your guard and center, the 2 rookies, Glasgow and Dahl. Watch them again. When you have an athletic offensive line to be able to get out in front, you're going to see Joe Dahl right here. Good job, Joe Dahl. Ron Prince. Then Zach Zenner showing a little shake and bake. I like it. Again, Joe Dahl twice making an athletic play downfield on the screen.
Little connection there with the Lions for Joe Dahl at Washington State. He was named the Mike Utley Offensive Lineman of the Year. Jones had it stripped. Is it inbounds? Yes, and it's the Steelers football.
-6 in turnovers for 2015. And this is the second one tonight for the Lions. That ball has to be secure. And you know that when you're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were +2 last year, tied for 3rd in the league in turnovers created, that they come after that football. And especially when you're taking hits and the second guy's coming, it behooves the receiver to double up the ball.
It's a backward pass, out of bounds, second down, Detroit.
Lions get a break. It was Duran Grant again, who had the interception return for a score earlier to make that play. And Mike Tomlin's talking it over.
See it on this side right here. So it's a screen. So right here. Now, when you know that the second guy's coming, you try to do your best to cover that ball with 2 hands. There's the ball bouncing. Yeah, I think his body was outside, touching the out of bounds, thus the ball's out of bounds. He did catch a break right there, especially a guy fighting for a job.
2nd and 10. Empty set. And dropped at the 48-yard line by TJ Jones.
Good protection. Again, That's a drop. You can't drop when you're competing. Right there, the ball was a little bit behind, but the rule is, I ran into Herman Moore, a great wide receiver for the Lions. Everybody knows Herman. I love him, great player. That ball touched a fingertip, he'd catch the football. And I think right there, he turned his hands. You can't see me, can you? They can't see me. But he turned his hands out. You want to put those hands up like you're catching thumbs together and catch that ball. Catch the ball with your hands. What he tried to do was body catch that.
Almost like you're making a diamond. And he was going the opposite way. 3rd and 10. Pressure from the edge. Orlovsky throws underneath. It's caught. And Curley's got the first down.
That's a
well,
nice
that stiff arm was huge right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, and again, winning man-to-man battles. Jeremy Curley does have a little bit of burst. And after that drop, he's come back nicely to make a play. But I like the burst right here, understanding where the sticks are. First of all, they're going to have a little bit of a, they stack him so they can beat that man-to-man coverage. You get a pick by the receiver coming from the other side. And right there, that stiff arm turning into a running back after you catch the football. Well done.
Needed 10, got 12.
Excellent.
Past midfield as we approach the 2-minute mark. Good play action. All kinds of time. Wide open. Caught by Roberts inside the 30-yard line. Almost jumped too soon, Chris.
A good play design right here by Jim Bob Cooter. And the reason why? You're attacking 3 different levels. You got one short. You got one in the middle, which he catches the ball. You got one deep. No need. Roberts is there.
Become a Detroit Lions season ticket member. For member benefits and details, visit DetroitLions.com.
Love our fan base up there in Detroit, man. They're great, loyal fans. Here's what I was talking about on that replay. They have 3 different levels of attack. First of all, it sets with protection, but you see Zenner right there is flat. Roberts is right in the middle. Then you have a guy running a post, taking the corner out of the picture, vacating that area. And Roberts almost, like you said, man, almost jumped too early, but did a good job of adjusting. Then going to the ground and knowing to get right back up right away to get that extra 3 yards.
2 catches, 29 yards for Roberts. Jim Caldwell pointed out in our meeting yesterday, he's been impressed with him so far in camp. 1st and 10 for Dan Orlovsky. Blitz comes.
Go high.
He picks it up, and wide open is Roberts. He will waltz in. Yes, as he stretches for 6.
That's why you throw hot. He was almost a little late on that, but Andre Roberts is the one that recognizes. Right here's the corner blitz coming off the short side of the field. Roberts calls off his route. And right there, he's just sitting, waiting for the football. The area is vacated because the corner blitz, the safety was too late to come over, and you got 6 points. Look at that. See him pointing in. He's pointing corners in, corners in. Orlovsky, being the veteran, sees that. Roberts sits the route down and waits for the ball, and you're able to get 6 points off of blown coverage by the Steelers, and recognition by the quarterback and wide receiver. Execution under pressure equals 6 points.
How about the giddy-up by Robert Golden, though? It looked like no one was going to come close to getting Roberts, and Golden's closing speed made it interesting. First preseason touchdown of the year for Detroit. I would guess they're looking this one over a little bit, are they not?
Well, you know why a guy runs that fast?
Doesn't want to get hit.
No.
Why?
Because he blew the coverage and said only saving grace is to try to create a turnover and make the tackle. But I love the execution right there. And Andre Roberts, I mean, he's in a battle.
Yes.
And part of it in making this team and being as a receiver is to be able to recognize and be on the same page with the quarterback. And when you saw that hand go up pointing, he's yelling corner blitz. He doesn't keep in his route, Matt. He turns around, sits, and says, "Oh, Lord, please throw me that football because I got 6 all over it." Orlovsky finally recognized it, delivered to where he did not have to work to catch the ball, transition from catch to run, 6 points.
All right, here's what they're looking at right here.
All right, let's see. And give it to him, man. That's good. Let's go.
Folks, that's a defensive guy saying, give it to him.
Well, yeah, I got a little blue and silver on tonight.
I don't blame you.
In case you didn't notice.
Yeah, I did. In more ways than one. Sharp suit. Let's see. Jim Caldwell hoping it's good. So is Roberts.
Look at the smile, Coach Caldwell.
I will say this. Their dual practice in Latrobe could not have worked out any better. Usually when you see 2 teams battle it out, fighting one another, it is literally just that, fighting one another. You didn't see that between these two organizations in Latrobe for 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. It was highly constructed and highly respectful, and it was really enjoyable to watch.
It's been my experience. It's usually the backups who are fighting each other because the guys that are starting are making too much money and they don't want to break a hand. I mean, you got to be smart. Why do I want to fight you? I don't have to. Why do I have to beat you up? What's that going to get me? Nothing but an injury,
right?
Or an IR, or a practice squad, or on the street.
See what Walt
After
Coleman
reviewing
says.
the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Mike Tomlin didn't like that review. He didn't like the call in the first place. So Matt Prater,
great call,
is there for the extra point. Jimmy Landis is the long snapper on this attempt. Landis, a draft pick out of Baylor, to compete with Don Muehlbach for the long snapper position. No problems. So the Lions travel 81 yards in 7 plays, and it ends up with a guy who has really atoned well for himself tonight.
Yeah. In the words of Wayne Fonts, take a look right here. You got a corner blitz right here, recognition by this guy. This is beautiful, pointing it out. Orlovsky sees it. You're vacating the area with the guy pushing to the field. The safety gets caught up. He's late, 29. Shamarko Thomas was the one that had the mental error. He's got to be able to come off of that and play the flat route. He did not because he was picked by the wide receiver. When you draw it up and it works like that to execution and you have your players recognize the weakness and where the weakness is and exploit that weakness, that's cause for celebration in the offensive meeting room tomorrow.
And Andre Roberts has turned some heads here on this Friday night. 3 catches, 57 yards, and that touchdown moments ago to bring Detroit to within 4. Dan Orlovsky's responded from the pick 6 earlier in the ball game. And Devin Bell will kick it deep for the Lions.
Hey, just so you know, I had a nice guy on Twitter comment, that was a German suplex.
Oh, okay.
Not a souffle.
Okay,
souffle is something that...
Souffle is something I eat.
Well, your pregame meal. Like you're going to the chair in 24 hours. I can't believe it.
Chris tells me the governor called your pardon. You don't have to worry about it. This is a deep kick that will go all the way through the end zone, and Pittsburgh will get it at the 25-yard line with the new rule giving the offense an extra 5 yards. Lions used a little bit more than 2.5 minutes off the clock.
Good job by Orlovsky, too. He's been on target, except for a few. He missed a couple, but converting on that key 3rd down to Curley was huge in that series. Curley becoming a runner, and the thing, he did not have to slow down. He was able to catch it in full stride, thus able to turn it into running back full speed after the catch.
All right, a little 2-minute drill here for the Steelers. $1:52 left. Jones, it's bobbled and then hauled in, but Detroit is all over it. Boy, good job by Detroit pursuing the football. Sammy Coates took his eye off it for a moment.
Preston Butler does a nice job of defeating his blocker. Watch number 29 come in. Look at that, basically beating 2 blockers, forcing that ball inside to the pursuit, and the rest of the Lions are there to clean it up. But that is set up by Preston Butler.
A quick slant knocked down by John Batamosi. You saw just as that ball was being snapped, you saw number 91 in white. That's Ashawn Robinson, the Lions' 2nd-round pick out of Alabama, a 2-time All-American. He's the guy deep inside that will provide some depth for that DT position.
And the key for the defensive tackles, especially in these situations, because the Lions have so much speed and athleticism coming off the edge, they need to get that strong push up the middle to collapse that pocket.
Finalist for the Outland Trophy a year ago. Let's see what kind of push he gets, and it's a good push. Jones just delivered it before Robinson got to him, and there's a fumble on the play. After the completion, the Lions get a turnover, a flag on the play. Let's see if it stands.
Brandon Copeland with the recovery.
We have a completed pass. Fumble. Recovery by Detroit. First down.
Picked up the flag. Well, first of all, you said it. Ashawn Robinson, working on number 67 in black right there, does a good job of getting a hand in the face. Kyle Van Noy not quitting on the play, and also Batamosi coming in and getting that helmet on the football, jars it loose. And the thing I don't like guys that are athletes to fall on the ball. Be an athlete, pick the ball up and run. And that's exactly what Copeland did. Beautiful. Good job, Lions, making plays.
And Kyle Van Noy in on that coverage, as you said, didn't give up on the play. That's an encouraging sign as well. So Lions with a chance to take the lead before the half. Orlovsky, who just engineered an 81-yard drive, has all 3 timeouts at his disposal. Throws on a dig route that's incomplete, a little high, intended for Roberts, who's been his guy so far here tonight. He's got the touchdown on the board for Detroit.
Sometimes those balls are thrown high because you have to be able to clear the second level of the coverage, which is the linebackers, and sometimes that ball can sail on you a little bit.
Roberts is to the right of Orlovsky. Curley and Davis are to the left. Curley's in the slot. Here comes a corner blitz. Yep. Orlovsky throws. Intended for Davis. Way out of bounds.
Better job by the safety covering down on the corner blitz, going to the hot route, forcing Orlovsky to come back. Coverage was good. Good decision by throwing a souvenir. See the corner coming up top right there is the blitz. He looked back over there, but he's working to the outside. No, nothing there, feeling the pressure and making a good decision to throw that way out of bounds.
Good block by George Wynn as well. Detroit 7 for 10 on 3rd downs tonight.
True Pittsburgh fashion. All right, now they had a blitz on. Let's see if they call it off. See, defenses can audibilize too. Well, they just change it to the other side.
Flag on the play.
Better job by Shamarko Thomas right there. Did you see that? So they've learned from their mistake. They make the adjustment, understand if the corner is coming, you have to not cover dirt, but go take away the hot route, exactly what Shamarko did, forcing a wide throw.
Offside, number 31, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Ross Cockrell, the guilty Steeler, to give Detroit another shot at it.
Oh, that's the blitzer. Gets a little excited. Right there, you see 31 right there coming in off the blitz.
Trips to the left, pressure comes that way. Underneath route, Curley with a nice grab. Dragged down shy of the 15.
Once again, Curley recognizing and getting the matchup that he'll win. Not a zone, but any type of man coverage or matchup coverage. He just uses his speed, outruns it, and Orlovsky delivers him a strike for a converted 1st down.
8 for 11 on 3rd downs for the Lions offense tonight. Impressive. Inside give to Wynn.
Good push.
To the 12-yard line and a timeout for Detroit with under 30 seconds to go.
This is what you want to see. I mean, this has not been an issue, and we see Amir Abdullah do this, who sees a lot of things. But that's a good push, and you see that contact is not being made to George Wynn until he's 2 yards down the field. So if he gets tripped up, he's falling forward for 2 more yards, and you got a 4-yard gain. And that's what they did not have enough of last year.
Yeah, sometimes we lose sight. We think that every running play has to be 6 yards or so. That's just not the way it's going to be. Sometimes you start beating them up in the early stages and it ends up later on paying off.
Yeah, and the thing you want to do is, and coaches refer to it as, and analysts refer to it as staying on schedule. So I think you can get 3rd 2, 3rd 3, you're going to be pretty good. Because it's very difficult to play man-to-man against the great wide receivers, plus all the rules of football, and especially coverage, it gears toward the offense.
Lions averaged only 83.5 yards per game on the ground last year. That ranked 32nd in the NFL. Empty backfield. Incomplete. Roberts, the intended receiver. 3rd down for Orlovsky and the Lions.
Well, Lions last year, man, just so I know you know this, but just so the fans, one of the things that they did really well in the red zone is that they were second in TD percentage in the red zone, close to 70%. That's outstanding. They have to continue that. Here's a chance to build on that.
They'd like to be better on third down this year than they were last year, where they ranked 24th. They've been really good on third down tonight so far. They need 7. And that one's knocked down before it can reach Quinshaw Davis.
Well, it's good it was knocked down because Shamarko Thomas is dancing in the end zone the other way. Because, again, they come with the corner blitz right away. Orlovsky's going back to it. And you'll see Shamarko Thomas coming off the edge right here. You can see that. He flashed right into that pitcher, and there was a shot where he might have picked that off because instead of playing defense, he's starting to play the play, which is good if you're a Steeler fan.
31-yard field goal attempt from Matt Prater. Drilled one from 29 earlier and does the same here. A couple of field goals for Matt Prater tonight. And the Lions pulled to within 1 here in Pittsburgh with 18 ticks left to go in the opening half. We'll talk with Jim Caldwell at the half. Jennifer Hammond will visit with the Lions head coach, get his thoughts on what he saw from his team in the first couple of quarters.
Pretty good night for Orlovsky, I thought. A couple bad decisions, but also some very good throws, good reads.
His numbers right there, 16 of 23. He's got a touchdown and a pick 6.
Yeah, to me, I mean, he's a very good backup. If he goes into the game, knock on wood, if something would happen to Stafford, there's somebody that I would feel comfortable with. He knows the offense, sees the field well, moves around well enough to not hurt you in the pocket.
Really good guy in the film room. You talk about that a lot, but you want to have veterans in the film room who can reinforce beliefs and sometimes take a look at different options.
Yeah, I think he's solid and he's a comfort. He's like a kid's little blankie. You know, it just if something goes wrong or you're losing, you got your blankie right there. Everything's better. That's what he would be. He's a blankie.
Another kick all the way through the end zone, meaning Pittsburgh will get it at their own 25-yard line.
Would you call it blankets or what?
Sure. A
burlap sack.
Yeah,
the Shepherds are so tough. He gave burlap sacks. Here's your blankie.
Give me that thing. You'll get nothing and like it.
That's right.
Well, Landry Jones has some work to do for Pittsburgh. Here's a guy who's came in, did a nice job in replacing Ben Roethlisberger a couple of times last year. Matter of fact, his first career start was Week 7 against Kansas City. Threw for over 200 yards and a touchdown, but he's going to get pushed by Bruce Gradkowski, who missed all of last year with an injury. So far, he's 6 for 10 for 55 yards. There's a nice throw, but Coates slid down. And I don't know if you can call that a drop, but you got to stay on your feet and haul that in. That looked like a pretty good throw.
Call it what it is. It's a duck. It's a. I don't want to get hit. Were you kidding me? Watch this. I mean, you got to go make the catch. You drop down, go make the catch, then drop down. And then his hands were turned the wrong way. His hands were turned out again instead of going up and making the diamond to make the catch. Catch the ball with your hands. You're an NFL wide receiver.
That's a 3-year starter out of Auburn in his second year. Surprising there. Jones, good pocket. Downfield, incomplete. Don Carey was waiting for it. And actually, the Pittsburgh wide receiver, Levi Norwood, did a nice job to make the play. Otherwise, Carey's got the pick.
Well, again, depth at corner, Darren Walls, number 30, does a good job of forcing this ball to be thrown inside too much. And what I'd like to see is Antoine Williams. You got 10 seconds left in the half. You know what you need to do? The ball should never be thrown over your head. Get your rear end back and cover that seam route about 20 yards instead of covering dirt at 10.
Walls with that depth, a 4-year starter in New Orleans. The Steelers would just run it out. And the Lions will hit the locker room in their opening preseason game, trailing by 1. Heavily outgaining Pittsburgh in yards, 260 to 79. They possessed the football more than twice as long in that opening half. but you didn't take advantage of some opportunities, and you made a costly mistake. You lived through it. You learn from it. You're down by 1.
Yeah, playing a lot of guys. I thought it was a very productive first half. The defense only gave up 1 offensive touchdown. Pretty good, Jen.
All right, Jimmy, give me your impressions. We saw one series from Matthew Stafford with the starting offense. A little bit of everything out there. What did you see?
Yeah, with the first series, we moved the ball. We had 14 plays, but when you turn it over at the end, you don't finish it off with a score. Obviously, that's a bit disappointing, but we saw a lot of positive things along the way.
11 different receivers catching balls there in the first half from both quarterbacks. Is that something that tells you more about this offense and how it's going to look, or about guys trying to make plays and make this roster?
Well, I think it should look that way. I think the way in which it's designed, the ball goes a number of different places depending upon the progression. And we've thrown it enough to get a lot of people involved.
Quick impressions on the defense. They've made some plays.
Yeah, they've certainly shut down the run game, done a nice job knocking the ball loose, so they're doing well at this point.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Matt, we're going to send it back upstairs to you.
It was about tempo in training camp so far with the Lions. It's something that really impressed the Steelers in their 2 days earlier this week with Detroit. They've shown nice tempo. Don't have quite the results, but they trail by just 1 at the break on the Lions television network. 14-13, Steelers in front of the Lions, but Detroit gets the football first here to start the second half. Alongside Chris Spielman, I'm Matt Shepard. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night. Look, only 48 yards on the ground for Detroit. You don't like to read too much into numbers. You're all about the push up front. Have you noticed a little bit of a difference early on?
A nice job by the offensive line.
Yeah. Anchored by Taylor Decker on the left side, but Joe Dahl, Graham Glasgow in that second unit. I don't know how much you can read into that because a lot of times they're playing against second teamers too, but look, they're getting their job done right now for the most part.
I think the encouraging thing is when I watch the Lions on film and preparing for this preseason last year, a lot of times they were getting pushed back into the backfield. So the receivers had no chance to square their shoulders and make that move or cut back and hit it up in there. And they were forced to run east and west. At least tonight, a good sign has been they've been able to get some type of push. Graham Glasgow did it, we highlighted it, and we were able to replay it, where he hit the nose guard, sealed him off so the guard can come around to seal. And Graham is able to get that big 6'6" frame in front of that linebacker coming from the backside, and it was a 4-yard gain. Now that might not look like anything to the viewer at home, but I guarantee you when you get those 4-yard gains, all of a sudden you're 3rd and 2, then you got the defense where you want them, especially when you have a dangerous quarterback like Matt Stafford and the receivers that they have.
Chris, these guys are big and strong. They played at big programs too, respectively. Glasgow at Michigan, Dahl at Washington State. They're going to have to learn something, right? What do they have to learn quickest?
Well, I think to me it's the difference how good the pass rushers are. You know, in college, whether it's Big Ten, Pac-12, you have 1 or 2 pass rushers. Here you got 4. You know what I mean, Jen, don't you?
Exactly what you mean, Chris Spielman. Exactly. We know exactly what you mean. Matthew, 4 out of 5, 58 yards for you with this first-team offense. Just tell me how you felt out there with those guys in front of you, still learning.
Yeah, I felt okay. You know, obviously we had a couple mistakes here and there. Weren't perfect by any means. First, second units, moved the ball well, turned it over a couple times, got a score when we get down into the red zone. But, overall, it's preseason 1. You know, it's a step in the right direction. We're going to have a lot of tape to look at and learn from.
When you go up against a team like the Steelers, obviously it gives you a good look of a lot of defenses you'll face. Number 92 out there, he's still got something.
Absolutely. He's still a heck of a player. We practiced against him all week, and he's still causing havoc. A really good player, a good guy for our young left tackle to go up against and play against.
How much can you help them learn on the go in these games?
As much as I possibly can. I can't physically get in there and block them or do any of that stuff, but try to put them in the right position to be successful, and we'll go from there.
Enjoy the second half on the bench.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we're going to send it back upstairs to you, Shep.
All right, Jen, thanks very much. His second half last year, he really enjoyed 19 touchdowns, 2 picks, had 110 quarterback rating. Flag on this play. Loved to pick up where he left off in the regular season as the Lions will open on the road at Indianapolis. Let's see what happens here. It's probably against Detroit.
Illegal block in the back. Number 1, offense. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Number Davis coming here is going to try to take the corner. And what you have to do right there, just that little push, even though he only touched him, he didn't really push him. That's a good call. You have to have your hands. And the late, great Frank Gans, who was my special teams coach here in Detroit, he used to use the term as save it. That's throw your hands, but then you body bump them. Like that, Matt. You body bump them, You can get the block, but it looks like you're trying to avoid the contact. A lot of times they won't make the call.
All right, you just took 3 of us out in the booth. I got to get back up, all right?
Jake Rudock.
Jake Rudock is in for Detroit. Wears 14 in white, and he has progressed well underneath. Very accurate thrower. Chase Billingsley dropped that one on a little curl route. Rudock, drafted out of the University of Michigan. 38 career starts in his college career. Threw for over 7,800 yards at Iowa and U of M. He became just the second Wolverine quarterback to ever throw for 3,000 yards in a season a year ago.
Really improved as the year went on and ended up being a strong player in the Big Ten for a great year for the Wolverines. And Jake he's not going to wire, but what he does do is he makes good decisions. He finds the open receiver, and when he's on, he's very accurate.
And he connects with Davis, who spins his way to the 24-yard line. Rudock has between 15 and 20 family members here tonight.
Yeah, all coming up from Florida. Good protection right there. And again, seeing that throwing lane and anticipating throwing Davis open. Got a chance to speak with the family.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, some of the family from nearby Bloomsburg and Harrisburg as well. So not a long drive for them, but they had an opportunity to go out and watch him practice in Latrobe for a couple of days. He'll throw again. Steps up and he can run. This is something he did really well last year, and he will get the first down and then some down the sidelines before tiptoeing along into the sidelines of the Lions and a pickup of 17.
A great job by Orson Charles. Recognizing that the quarterback's going to run. Watch number 44. He's going to come into your screen a little bit later and get a chop block right there to knock 54 down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. L.J. Ford allowing Jake Rudock to get the first yards. But again, recognition by Orson Charles that he's not going to be a receiver, turns and finds a man to clear a running lane.
Another first down for Detroit. Rudock last year, 4 touchdown runs for the Wolverines. This time it'll be on the ground. Getting some of that push a little bit for Detroit. Up that middle, and Stephen Ridley's a guy we're going to want to keep an eye on, and it's a guy you like too because he's a veteran, 6th-year pro out of LSU.
Smart. He's got a little bit of burst and had some injuries like a lot of players, but again, recognizing that there's not a lot to go, stick your head down, lower those pads, and get as many as you can.
Originally a 3rd-round pick of the New England Patriots. Rudock on play action, all kinds of time. Last option.
Good protection right there, Matt, to allow him to throw the last option. And I tell you, a good patience by Jake Rudock also. Watch him survey the field. He's not going to force anything. He'll never force a throw. He rarely did that at Michigan. You see him survey the field and just say, look, I'll take the check down. I'll put myself in a 3rd and 4 where I give myself the best chance to win this particular down.
Quick throw, and it's incomplete. L.J. Fort made the play. Charles, the intended receiver, and Detroit will have to punt it away.
That's a mistake by Charles. He drifted into the coverage. We saw in the first half where Cole Wick set it down and set perfectly so that the quarterback can deliver the football. And that's what he's saying right there. Don't drift, sit it down, stay away from the coverage. He's just got addressed by Coach Caldwell right there. I guarantee you that's what he's telling them.
It's interesting because when you hear that phrase, sit down, you oftentimes think of offensive linemen. And yet with tight ends, they use the same type of vernacular.
Well, zone, you got to find a weakness of zone and sit and let the ball be delivered.
Darren Bell punts it away.
Aussie style kick. And then we're in.
Oh, he's going to deaden it at the 3-yard line.
It's like watching the Hawthorne Magpies play Collinswood on AFL.
You win
Soccer Plus.
You win a lot of fans and a lot of coaches over when you do that as a punter. Played the first half for Pittsburgh. He gives way now to Bruce Gradkowski, the 11th-year pro out of the University of Toledo, who's been with Tampa, Cleveland, Oakland, and now 3 years. This will be his 4th in Pittsburgh.
And Bruce is a solid player. Again, the comfort level that a backup veteran like Bruce provides. And, you know, there's a battle. There's a battle between Landry Jones and Bruce for that backup quarterback. They're deep at that position. All 3 guys can play.
Might have been a bigger battle last year had he not injured his finger. and missed the entire year.
I heard that Roethlisberger's guy's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. As they started on the ground. You lead somebody to 8 postseasons and throw for a franchise record 43,000 yards.
Yeah.
I suppose you're pretty good. Plus 2 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah, I think he's. I know he's considered really, really good. I think he's great. He's a winner. He's tough. He makes a tough throw. Everybody knows his biggest strength is that he can throw a strike with big 300-pound linemen hanging on him. A great player, great quarterback. Findlay, Ohio is Ben's hometown.
He's thrown for 3,000 yards or more 10 straight years, Chris. Illegal motion against the Steelers.
Full start, 85. Offense, half the distance to the goal. Second down.
That's the tight end, Xavier Grimble. Played at USC. Played his high school ball in Las Vegas. Actually called some of his high school football games, and he was a man amongst boys before going to play for the Trojans.
You were calling games in Vegas?
I was calling a game in Vegas. You got it.
You're like that guy in WKRP in Cincinnati that's worked like every station in the world, or what? What are you talking Vegas?
I'm taking word wherever I'll get it, Chris. Good job by Detroit to stuff the run. Ashawn Robinson was in there. Isaiah Johnson came up from his safety position, and so did Miles Killebrew. A lot of people want to see this guy, 4th-round pick out of Southern Utah. Jen, Miles Killebrew, one of those guys who loves to hit.
He is absolutely one of the guys that loves to hit. In fact, Caldwell said it that nobody was champing at the bit more to get out there and actually hit somebody, lay a lick on somebody than it was Killebrew. He's one of the guys that's also in competition for that strong safety spot. Bush has taken a lot of the first team reps, but he, along with Tavon Wilson and Isaiah Johnson, are guys that are all in there fighting to show what they've got.
Talk about athleticism. This guy's got it. 38-inch vertical, ran a 4.440 as Gradkowski goes underneath. Stopped at the 10-yard line. Killebrew led Southern Utah with 132 tackles a year ago. And he plays special teams, too. We should note that.
Well, that's where he's going to make his name, at least this year. I don't think he's going to be a starter this year. I think Raphael Bush is kind of nailed that position down, which was a question mark coming into the season for the Lions. But it's, again, a good pickup and a valuable asset and the size of a linebacker. But if he can contribute on special teams, he'll be a good player and have a chance to compete later on for the secondary spot.
He was an all-conference safety, but second-team all-conference in special teams last year. Billingsley on the run puts Detroit in good shape inside the 35 of Pittsburgh. They're down 1. Another chance for Jake Rudock after the 13-yard return. We'll have Detroit's drive next. Second series for Jake Rudock in his first preseason game. Jennifer Hammond caught up with him in Latrobe earlier this week to get his feelings on playing his first NFL game.
It'll be fun. I mean, obviously we want to go out there and play some football and be good to compete against a different team. We're fortunate enough to do it for a couple of days here. Yeah, just excited to get out there and play ball a little bit against someone other than ourselves.
The thing with Jake, I had a chance to talk to him when he was at Iowa and at Michigan. His course load at Iowa, man, I asked him what he was taking pre-med. I couldn't even pronounce what they were. I mean, I know I'm a football guy, but I mean, I got a degree. But if I can't pronounce the guy's courses, that tells you how smart he is. And his demeanor, never rattled. That's what Harbaugh loved about him. He never got rattled, never too up, never too down, stayed the same. Helps him make good decisions.
That's why he's a 2-time academic All-Big Ten. I can promise you he's not in awe, and I'll tell you why here in a moment. Double tight set for Detroit. Ridley past the 25 to the 24. Jake Rudock in high school, where he won 2 national championships down in Florida, opened his sophomore year at Paul Brown Stadium in Cleveland. The next year, as a junior, or Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati, excuse me. The next year, he opened at the Horseshoe in Columbus. And then the senior year, he opened in Dallas, Texas at Cowboy Stadium.
From St. Thomas Aquinas High School, that's known for putting out great football players, including the latest holdout in San Diego, who's under a big contract dispute, Joey Bosa. And boy, they seem to be at an impasse. They're not even talking.
Can't get the first down on 3rd and short.
you got to get a linebacker shooting the gap. I mean, you got to be able to come off the double team and be able to pick up.
Maybe you go for
that
it here,
linebacker, LJ Ford.
Yeah. Maybe
Why
you go
not?
for it here. Why not?
Yeah. Watch 57 Ford. They're coming into your screen. Right there. Watch him work inside. And you do not get a push. Now, when you have that guy of size getting handled, number 70, Corey Robinson's getting handled, you're not getting any push on him. You got to be able to handle that. I mean, you're much bigger than him. You got to be able to knock him out.
And Detroit's going to opt for the field goal attempt here from Devin Bell. This is a 42-yard attempt. And a nice job by the undrafted rookie free agent out of Mississippi State. Detroit takes their first lead of the night, 16-14, on their third field goal on this Friday night. Lions preseason football is brought to you by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Family's not just our name, it's the way we do business. By Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button, get mortgage. And by the Detroit Medical Center, leading health care. Beautiful night in Pittsburgh. Lions have seized their first lead of the night in just a couple of minutes. They used a Devin Bell 42-yard field goal. The scoring drive brought to you by Wayne County Community College. Lions in front now by 2. Devin Bell, who connected on that field goal, will kick it away. And the Steelers will take it at the 25. And we'll be back with their third quarter drive, led by maybe a little bit close to a hometown hero. We'll explain after this. They lead it here in Pittsburgh, 16-14. Welcome back. Lions have used 3 quarterbacks. Bruce Gradkowski is the second one playing for Pittsburgh. He attended Seton LaSalle High School here in Pittsburgh and set a new record for touchdown passes, past the previous mark set by Hall of Famer Dan Marino.
Great college career at Toledo also.
Handles a high snap, pressure comes, he unloads, and this is a nicely set up screen that digs all the way out to the 35-yard line. Darrell Richardson maneuvering his way to move the chains.
Well, first of all, as a defensive lineman, if you're getting a great pass rush and a push like this and the offensive line's going backwards, you got to screen, you got to retrace your steps. And if you're Alex Carter and you're trying to make the team in a quarter, and you come up to make a hit, you can't throw a no-hitter. Good in baseball, bad in football.
Just shy of moving the chains. 2nd down and 1. You mentioned Gradkowski with the completion percentage. He was the all-time NCAA all-time leader in completion percentage when he left Toledo. In his 11th year, Richardson, now he's got the first down and more. 14 on the pickup there.
Good vision right there by Richardson. Left side of your offensive line is going to get caved down the inside. You see right there, 61 for the Lions gets trapped inside. Kerry Hyder, you got to maintain leverage and force that ball back into where your extra man is, which was to the right. You're on the left. That ball doesn't get that short corner if you have contained.
Hyder trying to win a job inside. Richardson, the lone tailback. Stutter steps his way, kind of feels his way into Lions territory. Antoine Williams in on that tackle along with Gooden. Pick up a 4. You see Gabe Wright and Stephen Charles inside for Detroit. Along that DT. People remember Gabe Wright as a 4th-round pick out of Auburn last year. Charles was with Buffalo a year ago. 2nd down and 6 for Pittsburgh. Coates on the grab. Close to a first down.
Playing a little soft coverage. Ben Coates recognizes will curled inside and makes a play. He's had some drops tonight and some poor decisions, but right here does a good job of fighting for extra yards. And actually a good open field tackle out there on the corner to keep the guy from getting first down. Xavier Gooden being attended to.
Well, that's another bad sign for Detroit because, as we mentioned, John Bostic was lost earlier in the week. He was carted off practice. They need Xavier Gooden to help with the numbers gain inside for this team and its linebacking core. He gets replaced. Steelers still driving. Lions already thin at linebacker. They may have lost another one, at least for the short term. Xavier Gooden.
Here, Gooden's going to take a shot right to the head. The line of fire. Isaiah Johnson. You know, if you get thin at linebacker, and if Bostic's injury is serious and you're losing guys, Tulloch's still on the street. It's a guy that led the team in tackles. He's still on the street. He knows the defense, and if he accepts a reduced role, think about re-signing him if it comes to that.
Players really respect him too. Gradkowski slides at the 40-yard line. Tier Whitehead told us, earlier in camp how much Stephen Tulloch meant to him as a mentor, the things that he learned from him, and he's probably still got some games left in him.
And I understand moving on, but again, if you I watched a lot of Lions games last year. Stephen Tulloch makes plays. Now I understand moving on and getting younger, or whatever the case may be. But if you get into a bind, what a perfect guy to bring back that knows the defense, and he can be a mentor to these younger guys. And guess what? If you need depth, he's going to come in and start making plays.
Right. Levy's out so far, Bostic out, and now Gooden gets hurt. You're running out of middle line. You're running out of linebacker bodies. Richardson can't bounce it to the outside. Detroit doing a good job stringing it out.
Took a shot to the head too, and that's obviously the NFL and trickled down to college football, even high school football, getting baseline tests and making sure to be extra cautious. Any shot to the head, long gone are the days of stuff 2 smelling salts up your nose and get back in there.
Couldn't be escorted to the Lions locker room. Pittsburgh 0 for 6 on 3rd down. Gradkowski chase from the pocket. He's got a lane, lunges. Killebrew a little late to the party, and that new rule allowed him to hit. Let's see where they mark him. He picked up 9. They're going to move the chains.
Well, you can see 11 years on Bruce Gradkowski right here. Not the fleetest of foot, but very smart, patient, running a little loose with that football, but understands with the first down markers and able to get that first down by lunging past the marker.
Pistol formation for Gradkowski. Timeout for Pittsburgh. Let's go down to Jennifer Hammond with an update on Xavier Gooden.
Yeah, you saw Gooden getting walked into the locker room. He is being evaluated for a head injury, and as you guys mentioned, thin at linebacker. They definitely need some healthy bodies.
All right, Jen, thanks very much. So head and shoulder looked like issues there for Xavier Gooden.
You tell me, Matt, you're around the program. And Stephen Tulloch, the reason to let him go?
Yeah, I mean, you got Tier Whitehead ready to fill that void.
Right.
They want to see what Kyle Van Noy can do. As a second-round pick a couple of years ago, DeAndre Levy is one of the best linebackers in the NFL when he's healthy. And, of course, let's face it, finances have a lot of say in many things that are decided in sports.
I get all that, and you mentioned it. DeAndre Levy, if healthy, is one of the best playmakers that the Lions have. So, but to me, I mean, that's something that you might want to consider if you're Bob Quinn and saying, okay, look, do I get a new guy off the street or do I get a guy coming in?
Dustin Vaughn coming in now for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. He's the 3rd quarterback used tonight for Mike Tomlin. He's the 2nd-year pro out of West Texas A&M. Turn and a give to Richardson. Detroit doing a good job plugging up the hole inside.
Tough runner, Daryl Richardson, 3rd year out of Abilene Christian. Again, that's what the one thing, if you're a fan of preseason football, which I am, these guys that get a chance to run the football, they're always fighting and grinding for every extra yard that they can get to prove that they can be a valuable backup. Obviously, you have Le'Veon Bell, he can ever kick that problem with D'Angelo Williams. Movement. False start, 74.
Against Pittsburgh.
Full start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
I'll give it to him. 74 right there. Sometimes when you pull, you get a little anxious. There's Kyle Van Noy. He's got a big year. Played nice tonight.
Sure did.
A good job. Making plays in coverage. Shot through on the backside to make a tackle for a 2-yard gain. Big year for him. Good size.
He told you and I earlier this year, look, the new position for me, it changes my eye level, changes my view, my progressions, everything. But he's dropped 13 pounds, best shape of his professional career.
Yeah, and it looked like it tonight. He's covering ground and playing with speed.
And around. Worked well earlier in the game. Working well here. And sneaking just inside the 20-yard line is DeMarcus Ayers. A pickup of 14 yards.
Every defense has a contained player. And if you lose contain, you get that short corner. You're getting lead blockers up to the second and third level. The result is very good. That time Copeland, number 51, jumped inside over pursuing, which created a short corner. Take care of your job first, then go.
30 seconds left in the third. Pittsburgh trying to reclaim the lead. Dustin Vaughn will throw. No, he won't. He'll go down. Pressure up the middle. The Lions with Kasim Green at the linebacker spot making a play.
Good job of Kasim Green on the blitz. The running back vacates the block. Richardson to sneak out into the route too late. Green did a good job of finishing it off, avoiding the block or any contact to make a play for his team. Good job, Kasim.
And we got an injured Steeler as well, and it's Brian Mihalik, backup lineman for Pittsburgh. You talked about earlier in the broadcast about how Detroit's getting used to the 3-4. Pittsburgh's trying to get used to a 4-3 defense that they don't see a whole lot of.
Yeah, and again, that's different types of schemes, and people want to know the differences. You see right here is Mihalik is being tended to, but Kasim Green avoiding the running back, and Green rolls the ankle of Mihalik, which is oftentimes you see offensive linemen get hurt. That's why usually, now he doesn't have on, every team has a rule that the offensive line wear those knee braces, not for direct hits. It's always people falling down behind them when they're posting. That's why usually offensive linemen you'll see have some type of brace on the knee or the ankle. He's a big guy at 6'9". But the 3-4 defense and the 4-3, the biggest difference and the biggest adjustment is the nose guard and always having to double team on the nose to get to the second level. But it's the pass rushers. In a 4-3, the fourth pass rusher is always identified 95% of the time because his hand is on the ground.
Gotcha.
So you know where it is. On a 3-4, you have guys coming from all different places, so it's tough sometimes to slide your protection or set your protection to a 3-4 because you don't know who's coming or who the fourth pass rusher would be.
Remember, Pittsburgh plays Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland twice a year. Cincy and Baltimore both run 3-4s. Cleveland, I believe, is switching to a 4-3 this season. We've played 3 here in Pittsburgh. Lions have their 16-14 lead. Can they hold on? The final quarter in the first preseason game of the year continues on the Lions television network after this. Pinpoint which types of players and positions have been the most impressive tonight has to be the Lions defense, and one of the leaders of that first-string defense, Glover Quinn, is with our Jennifer Hammond. Jen?
All right, thanks, Matt. Glover out there just for one series, but give me your opinion of how you guys were doing on defense out there starting.
I think we got off to a good start. We had a 3 and out. They had a penalty, and got them in 3rd and long and got out the field, had a chance to make a play. We started out good. That's what we wanted to do. It was fun.
As the guy who's kind of the veteran leader of this defensive backfield this season, how much do you coach along the new guys that you're out there playing with?
I coach them a lot when I'm out there and given times. Right now, their head is spinning right now, so it's a game time. I kind of just let them play. I try not to bother them too much. If I see something that sticks out a lot, I say something. But I just want them to play and have fun and I correct them after the game and as they're watching the film. But it's so much going on in their head right now. I don't want to be putting different stuff in their head and just make them play even slower. So just let them play, let us see what they know, and then we'll correct out the film.
All right, thanks. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Thank you. These books stop.
He coached him up, but he coached Miles Killebrew up right there.
Sure
Miles
did.
Killebrew comes up, makes a play, and causes a fumble. Glover's a guy that is impressive. I mean, you look at 511 career tackles and 19 interceptions. And the thing I like about him and watching him play, the safety has to be the brains of the back end. He has to make sure everybody's on the same page. If everybody's not on the same page and the safety's making adjustments to coverages, the results are bad. See 1992 versus the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs.
Butler on a blitz. They pick it up. It's complete to the 19. Just to put a bow on that, Glover Quinn, 14 interceptions in his 3 years in Detroit.
Yeah.
That's a playmaker, man.
Watch Miles Killebrew come up right here. And coach, again, see how loose that ball is? Killebrew is able to wrap up and get the helmet on the arm. Coach having a tough night.
Yeah, he's not played well at all.
And just for coaches out there, you want to teach ball security. Whenever there's air between the elbow and the rib cage, that ball is vulnerable to be knocked out. And defensive coaches identify that on film.
Especially like a big from a big hitter like Miles Killebrew. 37-yard attempt for Chris Boswell. Got it. So Detroit with 3 field goals on the night. Pittsburgh with their first. And the Steelers climb back on top by 1. Andre Roberts with a big night tonight. The offensive play of the game is brought to you by Luxottica, and he's part of it, Chris Spielman.
Well, first of all, it's recognition of understanding the corner blitz, sitting the route down, pointing out the blitz to Dan Orlovsky, the quarterback. They're able to recognize, see the blown coverage, and the pass was perfect, so the change from catch to run was perfect and in stride. He's able to finish at the end zone. Good job by Andre Roberts and Dan Orlovsky.
Steelers will kick it away. Dwayne Washington, the 7th-round draft pick out of Washington, has a chance to return this from his 4. Got a seam. Broke a tackle. Does he have enough? Yes, he does. Touchdown, 96 yards.
He got a great block by his running mate, number 34, Zach Zenner. Watch 34 right here. He's going to come in. Now just keep your eye on him. He's going to become a lead blocker, and watch this hole open up. Right here, he's going to seal it right there, open the hole, make the kicker miss, which isn't a hard chore, but sometimes guys get tripped up. Then he shows the speed and ability to finish. Look at that speed. Nobody's even gaining ground. I tell you, when you see the heels hit the rear end when a guy's running, he's moving fast.
That's what they loved about him at Washington, his speed. And the Lions will go for 2 to try and gain a 7-point edge.
Coach Caldwell almost cracked a smile.
Jake Rudock will trigger this offense to go for 2.
Joe Marciano, the special teams coach, was happy with that. Nothing puts a smile on a special teams coach like a big play.
Ridley to the left of Rudock. He'll throw for it, and it will be caught. Quinshot Davis hauls in the 2-yard slant strike from Jake Rudock to make it 24-17 Lions.
Boy, I'll tell you, Jake had to throw the fastball because the safety was coming in right on it and reading it, and Jake threw it just out to the outside enough where Quinshot Davis can use his hips to turn. Washington. Put me on the team, coach.
Still getting congratulations, Dwayne Washington, the 7th-round draft pick out of Washington, taking it to the house, 96 yards. The scoring drive brought to you by Zeal. It didn't take long. This young man, who picked up over 1,300 yards and 17 scores at Washington, makes a name for himself on special teams. here in the first preseason game of his NFL career.
That's how you differentiate yourself if you're trying to make the team. You show speed and burst like that to get to the end zone.
It's a good thing it was a short kick. Remember, you talked about the difference this year. One of the many rule changes is getting the football at the 25-yard line. Your belief is that some teams will now kick it shorter and see if they can count on their coverage team to make sure they don't get it to the 25. It blew up in Pittsburgh there.
Well, Jim Harbaugh was saying last night after the Ravens game that it's going to be counter to what they thought it would be, which is to try to eliminate returns because of the number of concussions that were caused on kickoff returns, or so they say. But teams aren't going to do that because I'm not giving the ball to 25. I trust my kickoff team. We have a lot of pride in our coverage skills that we're going to kick it high and short and make them start at the 20-yard line or the 19-yard line and trust our guys to make a play. But when you got Dwayne Washington running through you, that'll make you think twice about having that strategy.
Speaking of John Harbaugh, the Lions will be there in Baltimore on August 27th. A little bounce to the outside, but good pursuit on the part of the Lions. Well, Coach Marciano, like you said, very pleased with the way his team was able to gain a seam there for Dwayne Washington and put some good film on tape, I guess.
Yeah, he should, and you know, special teams coaches live for that. And you know, I played with I think one of the best return men in history, a guy named Mel Gray.
Oh yeah,
it was just outstanding. And Frank Gans, our special teams coach, who I mentioned earlier, never wanted Mel. That ball was 9 yards deep. Bring it out, Mel, because he knew that Mel had a chance to go the distance every time he had his hands on the ball.
Mel Gray's Lions single-season record was broken last year for kickoff returns by Amir Abdullah, believe it or not.
Well, that's something I think as Amir progresses into his career, you do not want him to be a part of. If he's going to be your #1 back, he's not the biggest guy. You don't want to take him extra hits. And if you have a guy like Washington that's a threat, that only adds to what you are as far as your arsenal of running backs and return guys.
And with that, puts himself into the mix probably with Zach Zenner, you know, Stephen Ridley, and some of the running, George Wynn, some of the running backs who are trying to vie for some competition. Yeah, it's a tight competition. Dustin Vaughn will throw, and it is caught at the 30-yard line. Marcus Ayers on the receiving end of that pitch, but short of the first down. Jace Billingsley right around his own 26, 27-yard line or so.
Billingsley back to the Lions.
Returnable from the 21. Smothered. 11:54 remaining in this one. Lions lead it by 7 thanks to Dwayne Washington's 96-yard kickoff return for a score. Lions lead it by 7. Get your Lions fan gear 24/7 at the Detroit Lions official online store. Shop DetroitLions.com. Lions defense has been awesome. They have forced 3 and outs on 7 of the Pittsburgh 9 possessions. Or Pittsburgh's, 7 of the 9 possessions. And they lead it by 7. 24-17. Jake Rudock back at the controls for Jim Caldwell's offense. Jay Lee is in the slot to the right, now comes in motion. He wears 84 in white. He's the undrafted rookie out of Baylor. Instead, they go on the ground. Just past the 30-yard line. Detroit trying to establish that run all night long. That was Dwayne Washington. He's the guy who had the 96-yard kickoff return for a score and picked up 5 on that run.
What I like about Dwayne Washington, we saw it on the kickoff return, is he has the ability to stick his foot in the ground and get to 0 to 60 in a hurry, and was able to get 6 on that. And again, something optimistic to look forward to as we progress through this preseason. A good push by that offensive line.
Rudock with a quick throw to Billingsley. Picked up a couple. Bring up 3rd down. Rudak has really been helped out by Orlovsky and Stafford. They've really kind of guided him through some of the tough times during camp and what to look for. He has been very complimentary of the leadership in that quarterback room.
That's what we're supposed to do. It's good for the team. They're not threatened by him.
Right.
Help him out.
Looks right, now throws on a swing pass to Washington. Made a couple of guys miss for a nice gain close to midfield.
That ball was late. He hesitated a little. It's a little late, but because Dwayne Washington has great vision, and again, able to stick his foot in the ground and get the 0 to 60 in a hurry, the end result is good. But Jake was just a tad late on that delivery, but Washington bailed him out with good moves by making people miss, which is so important and emphasized earlier in the game by me, emphasized now.
You'll get another call.
Hit it.
Lunges to the 46 of Pittsburgh.
Getting tired right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he had that hole, and he stutter stepped a little bit. That was a great job of that offensive line getting the push and opening up the hole. He stuttered just a little bit, or he's to the safeties, and you know a guy's getting tired when you see hands go to hips. There he comes out.
Second and short for the Lions. Good first down running play, huh?
Staying on that schedule.
Ridley to the right of Rudak. Throws across the middle and a diving catch made shy of the 40-yard line by Adam Feeney. Feeney had some first-team reps in Latrobe a couple of days ago and had a touchdown grab too, a one-handed grab.
A big target again, and you look at the tight ends and they just seem to be getting bigger and bigger.
Rudak now 7 of 8 for 45 yards. Ridley, change of direction inside the 40 to the 38.
Nice job what you're seeing here is even moving through the fourth quarter. And if you're able to establish things on the ground, keeps that clock moving with a 7-point lead. And all these scenarios are practiced throughout the preseason. And to be able to dominate up front and keep that ball on the ground, it demoralizes the defense and chews clock.
Well, you and I were talking to Matthew Stafford the other day, and what did he tell us? Look, you throw to score points. You run to win games. This is where you got to be able to run the football. Although Rudak with a play action, but he will run it. He's got some daylight and will slide inside the 35.
Well, that's a perfect example of the decision making that Jim Harbaugh loved at Michigan, and taking a throwing lane and turning it into a running lane, getting positive yards, getting down and avoiding contact. Good slide right there. Now, if any contact is made with the rule, that's an automatic penalty because he went feet first. Like you said, Matt, sliding into second base.
He's used to that. He won a national championship as a 7th grader in baseball. Thought about giving up football until his dad said, you better think about this a little bit longer, son. And a couple of weeks later, he was back at camp ready to play some football. Here's Ridley inside. Big pop, and he lost his lid inside the 30. I like the way Ridley runs, too. You mentioned him earlier, a physical back. Last year, just 8 games, played 1 start for the Pats. Picked up 6 on that carry.
See the push right there. It's a good job by Gabe Eichard getting position. And again, these guys are not getting hands on them until they're 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, and they have momentum built up so that when they do get hit, they fall forward.
Ridley again. There's the seam he was looking for. A little late to it.
Nice job by Orson Charles. That's a design cutback. Anytime you see that tight end come behind the line of scrimmage to cut off the backside pursuit, Orson Charles did just that to enable that seam to allow for a good gain. Al Golden, giving him congratulations.
Al Golden, new to the staff here under Jim Caldwell.
Tight ends coach.
Coaches the tight ends, right. Former coach at Miami. He actually recruited Jake Rudak. Play action. Looking downfield, throwing there, and through the hands of Billingsley. A little bit behind him. Would have been a nice gainer. Instead, it's 3rd down and long.
That's one that Jake would like to have back. He's just a little late on that pass, threw it behind Billingsley. That's just a timing issue.
That brings up
But he makes the right read. And remember, Andre Roberts caught this same pass early in the first quarter, second quarter. And right there, it's just behind. It's open again. It's that three-level pass we talked about. But you got to give your receiver a chance to make a play.
11th play of the Lions drive. Lopsided numbers in third down conversions. And a nice catch by Billingsley. Made a couple of guys miss. And he's going to take it to the house. Touchdown, Billingsley, 27 yards away.
Somebody grabbed the football for either Rudock or Billingsley. What a good job. And again, I'm going to emphasize sitting down in a zone. When there's nobody around, you sit it down in between defenders, making people miss in open space and getting into the end zone. And watch the awareness right here, Matt. Watch him cover the ball with two hands. You see that?
Yep.
Understanding the contact is coming. That's a well-coached young man right there.
Devin Bell will try and tack on the extra point. Landis, the long snapper, and it hits the post and goes wide. So 6:12 left to go here in the fourth. Lions, though, on a nice play from Rudock to Billingsley, who lunges for 6, and Detroit leads 30-7. Lions lead it by 13. What a thrill it must be for the 23-year-old rookie from Eastern Oregon, Jace Billingsley, on the 27-yard catch from Jake Rudock. This game summary brought to you by Arby's. Matt Stafford looked pretty good early on. Kyle Van Noy has turned some heads, and Detroit's defense has really been the story of the night, Chris Spielman.
Outstanding. And you see the 7-3 and outs, which is a great effort by a defense, and certainly one area that want to improve on. Even though it's against backups, you still want to see progress.
Sure.
As third down. Last year, again, 24th in the league on third down defense.
Lions coverage unit solid there, stopping him at the 22. Lions defense we've talked about all night long. The defensive play of the game brought to you by the Lee Steinberg Law Firm. You should have called Lee 1-800-LEE-FREE. They forced some turnovers, including this one right here. Miles Killebrew forcing the cough up. Brandon Copeland on the recovery. You see the hit right there. Batamosi as well in on it. And that led to a Lions field goal as well. So that was big, and Detroit now leads it by 13. Incomplete.
Dustin Vaughn throws it away, and that's a drop to me. Again, you're an NFL wide receiver. You get two hands on the football. You need to bring it in.
Kobe Hamilton in his second year out of Arkansas. Dustin Vaughn, the third quarterback to play for Pittsburgh tonight. Ben Roethlisberger did not play. Vaughn getting pressure, throwing on the run, and a comeback route incomplete. Marcus Tucker with what you might consider another drop.
Yep. No, it's not might. Nothing might about this when you get a fastball thrown at you. And again, he lets that body get into, or the ball to get into his body. And I see this too often. I think NFL wide receivers, and especially a guy like Chris Carter. Chris was one of the all-time greats. Never caught the ball with his body. Always used his hands. Catch the ball with your hands. Don't let it into your body, because sometimes if you do, that ball bounces right off the breastplate or the shoulder pads. Incomplete.
Vaughn wants to throw again, and this time it is hauled in. Shy of the 40-yard line. Hamilton rather, with his first catch of the night.
Good pass, good step up into the pocket by Dustin Vaughn. Kobe Hamilton at 6'2", big target downfield. Does a good job of pressing the corner, coming back to the football, not allowing the safety, Keith Lewis, to knock it free.
Dustin Vaughn will throw again. An underneath route. Caught around the 40. Backup tight end Paul Lang out of Michigan State.
You have this type of lead, the one thing you want to do is not give up the big play. I know fans and people get frustrated with a prevent defense, but it's kind of a semi-prevent. You want them to chew clock, and you as a defense want to make sure as a secondary, nothing's over the top.
Under 5 minutes left to go here in the fourth.
You got a safety playing about 30 yards deep.
Vaughn drilled, got away from it, and throws incomplete. Boy, good pressure. Andre Smith, there's a flag on the play.
Nice pass rush by Smith, number 79. Coming from the outside, beating the offensive tackle.
Holding.
Just finish.
Number 61, offense. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Watch right here. Watch Smith right here. Nice move with quickness. Dips that shoulder. Now you got to be able to finish, and one way to finish is to be able to get that head across the body of the quarterback instead of behind. That way you use your total body strength.
We talked about the need for defensive ends. Quintera Smith trying to make an impression here. 7th penalty of the night for Pittsburgh. A twist up front. Vaughn throws incomplete.
Pass intended for Hamilton, incomplete.
Kobe Hamilton, the intended receiver.
3rd and 18 now. A lot of times you'll see teams run screens or draws in this type of situation, but as a linebacker or a safety, get back to the first down marker. Get the ball in front of you and come up and make an open field one-on-one tackle. Oftentimes we see guys covering guys at 8 or 10 yards. No need to, especially if you're in your zone. Get back to the sticks, then break up on the ball.
Don't try to be a hero in a situation like this. Vaughn with pressure coming in his face, and he's dropped. Anthony Zettel.
Vaughn is tackled in the backfield. 4th down.
But it's good pressure up front. See that pocket collapse, and Zettel does a good job of retracing back to the stepped up quarterback in the pocket and is able to finish. But that's all set up by pressure inside.
Jennifer Hammond.
You know, you should know something about Anthony Zettel. He uses kickboxing as a way to stay in shape and keep his conditioning up. When he was at Penn State in the off-season, he would use a guy in State College to do the he was an MMA trainer. So this guy has got a lot of moves. He's got a lot of conditioning. He is going to continue to do it, and he's got some great pass rushing techniques. And it's all because of that kickboxing stuff, guys. I don't know. Spielman reminds me of a kickboxer a little bit.
Yeah, he looks like he could handle himself, no question. Obviously, my partner does too, and Jim Caldwell says he's tough, smart, and gives you everything you had. You like the guy who isn't afraid to empty the tank for you.
Yeah, again, a guy that can provide depth on the defensive line. It's interesting, though, that a lot of offensive linemen, because hand placement is so important for offensive and defensive linemen, a lot of guys use some type of MMA training or karate training or whatever type of martial arts training has translated well into football because of the hand usage that's required from offensive and defensive linemen.
I remember a time where Bobby Ross, the head coach of the Lions at one point, actually brought someone in to teach his offensive linemen that very technique. There's a fumble, and Rudock covers it up. Ironically enough, that man is Tunch Ilkin, who actually is a former Steeler and a guy who you played against.
Yeah, Tunch was known for his outstanding pass protection. Not the biggest guy, but an excellent technician. In fact, I'm looking at him right now and having a bad memory. Him and Craig Wolfley over there for the Steelers, they held all the time, though. But every offensive lineman held that I played against.
Yeah,
right?
but they loved playing against you, though. They talked about the intensity that you used to play and the talking that it sometimes would take place on the field of play. Quick throw to Billingsley and a flag on the play. Billingsley with a couple of nice stiff arms, pushed out of bounds along the Pittsburgh sideline. Billingsley with a touchdown earlier tonight.
coaching point to be made in that situation. Do not run out of bounds.
There's a good shot of Tunch Ilkin right there.
Wow. Tunch was a great player, technician.
14 years for the Steelers with Chuck Noll.
Good pro.
Yeah,
man.
And a guy who played 177 games.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Pass interference, again, a rule of emphasis by the NFL. Receivers can't block more than 1 yard downfield, and that time Davis did.
Draw. George Wynn spinning his way. Fumble. Picked it back up. Still having a hard time holding on to it, and then corrals it at the 30-yard line. All that for 1 yard, Chris.
Well, at least he protected the ball. But again, nice spin move, her circle X button. But again, the ball pops out and does a good job of securing the football back and not turning it over. But George Wynn's a good football player. Excellent college running back at University of Cincinnati. Again, fighting for a job.
High school at University of Detroit. Rudock sets up a screen, and the Steelers kind of sniffed it out. They knocked it down. They knew it was coming.
And they had the blitz, corner blitz coming from the outside. And actually a good play, a screen away from the blitz, but the defensive lineman disrupted the prosperous plans of the Lions of big play by getting the hands up.
Sets up a punting situation for the Lions. Devin Bell back out. He's getting a workout tonight. 2 in white. And Marcus Ayers is back with his heels right around his own 25.
Bell will punt. DeMarcus Ayers back to the Steelers.
Flag on the play.
Ayers on the return. Penalty marker down.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 44, return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Both these coaches will be looking at the number of penalties their teams have been flagged for on this Friday night. Something to work on, among others. 30-17 Lions. Andre Roberts making a strong case to make this football team. Tonight's player of the game is brought to you by Big Boy. Number 19 is our guy, Chris Millman.
Absolutely, and it starts out mentally of recognizing the defense and being able to finish once you make the catch. Perfect throw. Able to transition from catch to run in a hurry to get 6 points.
It's been a back and forth affair until Detroit was able to seize the moment and then kind of put it away with Dwayne Washington's 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And Pittsburgh's just going to run it out. Detroit will play 3 teams from the AFC North. Quick strike throw for a first down up the sidelines. 3 teams from the AFC North in the preseason. So after this game here tonight, home to Cincinnati on the 18th of August. And then it's at Baltimore for what is always considered the key game, game number 3, before closing it out with their annual matchup with the Buffalo Bills. About a $1.50 left to go in this one. Vaughn throws, and it is caught for a first down at the 40-yard line. Good job coming back to the football.
It's coming back to Matt.
Kobe.
Holding.
It's unfortunate for Kobe Hamilton.
Down.
But the pressure coming from inside, again, is outstanding. First of all, a great get off by Gabe Wright, number 90, forcing Vaughn to step up and cause a holding penalty. But it all starts with defensive linemen understanding
game situations. Know that Pittsburgh's throwing the football. Get your rear end in the air. Come out like you're running a 40-yard dash. Don't worry about any run responsibility. Pin your ears back and get to the quarterback.
It's tough when those quarterbacks are feeling pressure in their face. It's one thing from the edge, but when you're getting it up the middle, that really makes them uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Seen a couple of helmets get knocked off tonight. Brendan Brown Dukes, the latest, after a pickup of 7.
Let's see what causes the helmet to come off. See, the helmet shouldn't come off.
Right.
Then he needs to get that helmet fixed or fitted properly, because in that type of hit, there's no way that helmet should pop off.
Vaughn, he's drilled at the 20-yard line. Smith again making a case for being one of these teams' backup pass rushers. 4th sack of the night for the Lions. He has been dynamite for this 3rd/4th unit.
Well, again, it's just speed off the edge. Right, nice little move inside. Then he's able to lower that shoulder, make himself a small target, and I like the finish right there. Perfect execution.
Quintero Smith has put a ton of pressure on the Steeler quarterbacks tonight, and nearly intercepted as Dustin Vaughn kind of choreographed that the whole way. Smith, 3rd-year man out of Western Kentucky. Long arms, good defensive end build, Chris.
Yeah, what he has and what creates fear in offensive linemen, especially edge offensive linemen tackles, is that speed off the corner. And he has a natural knack of dipping that shoulder, making himself a small target, not allowing that offensive lineman to get his hands on him.
You always talk about seizing opportunities in the preseason. Quintero Smith trying to do just that. Been with Jacksonville, the Jets, the Broncos. Originally a 5th-round pick by the Broncos. Billingsley calls for a fair catch. What about the 27-yard line with 6 seconds remaining? Jake Rudock can just take a knee, salt this one away. And the best way for coaches to feel after a preseason game is to get a win with plenty of teaching moments. Jim Caldwell is going to accomplish that, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I know it's not a big deal if you win or lose, but I can promise you this: as a player walking off the field, I don't care if it was preseason, NFC Championship game, playoff game, division game, it didn't matter. You want to win. If you're a competitor, you want to win. It's a good feeling from Detroit. They dominated the game with 20 first downs to 10. Doubled them up in first downs. A lot of big plays made by the Lions, and he should be happy with that performance.
What's really neat is they got it from really all different areas. The offense, the defense, the special teams all contributing tonight, and the Lions win it 30-17. We'll wrap it up from Pittsburgh when we return after a brief timeout on this, the Detroit Lions Television Network.